トヨタ自動車の友山でございます。本日はご多忙の折お集まりいただきありがとうございます。トヨタとソフトバンクはモビリティサービス事業分野におきまして新会社モネテクノロジー
Toyota and SoftBank have agreed to set up a new company called Monet Technologies and form a mobility service partnership. Today, we would like to share the details of this development with you. First, I'd like to describe some of Toyota's initiatives in this field and the background to our partnership. In late 2016, Toyota announced its connected strategy, which consists of 3 arrows. The first arrow is to build and launch the Mobility Services Platform, or MSPF, which will connect all our vehicles and serve as a foundation of our information infrastructure. The second arrow in our strategy is to promote the use of big data to accelerate business innovation within Toyota and at the same time bring new benefits to the customer and to society. The third arrow consists of using MSPF as a foundation to enable us to enter into tie-ups with various companies and create new mobility services. Almost 2 years have passed since that announcement. As you can see, we are making steady progress in rolling out mobility services. Positioning at the same time as we accelerate our connected strategy, we have also started to establish a new, stronger collaborative organization at home within the Toyota Group. We set up Denso 10 to promote the development of multimedia products, as well as a new company to accelerate the development and installation of automated driving systems under the umbrella of these 4 Toyota Group companies. These actions will also enable us to share big data throughout the group. Our connected strategy aims to connected technologies and continuous improvement, and our connected strategy aims to humanize connected services to create close links with our dealers and customers and ensure complete peace of mind. To achieve this goal, our first step has been to establish a Kaizen facility for connected technologies. Through this facility, we are providing training to our dealer sales and service staff and supporting workplace-based Kaizen activities. This slide shows our third arrow initiatives, that is, those related to MaaS. We have started working with various external companies as a mobility service platform provider. In the United States, we are working with GetAround in San Francisco to provide a car-sharing service that uses a smart key box SKB to lock and unlock the vehicle doors and start the engine via a smartphone app. We have plans to expand the service to the whole of North America. We have also started a similar service called WAI in cooperation with Surfco, our distributor in Hawaii. We plan to make this service more widely available as a model car-sharing business through our dealers. We also have a tie-up with Grab, the largest ride-sharing provider in Southeast Asia. We have equipped the Grab fleet in Singapore with cooperative drive recorders, and Toyota-affiliated companies have started working with Grab to provide services such as telematics-based car insurance, tracking, maintenance, and the like. We plan to expand this service throughout Southeast Asia.
In addition to our ongoing initiatives using our current vehicle lineup, we are also taking on the challenges of developing new forms of shared social mobility. And this is our opening move towards the mobility society of the future. Using this as a starting point at CES in the United States at the beginning of this year, President Toyota declared his determination to transform Toyota from being a car company to a mobility company, and also he unveiled the e-pallet concept. Then last month, we announced that we'd cooperate with Uber, one of the members of the e-pallet alliance, to develop dedicated automated MaaS vehicles. Through this startup, Uber's autonomous driving system will be installed a dedicated MaaS vehicle equipped with the Toyota Guardian automated safety support system. And through the mutual interaction of these two systems, we will develop dedicated automated MaaS vehicles with an aim for an overwhelmingly high level of safety. The vehicles are anticipated to enter Uber's rideshare service network and conduct field tests from 2021. As another aspect of our connected strategy, we're also working working with taxi providers in Japan. We are developing an AI-based taxi dispatch system that provides or predicts customer demand and testing an on-demand commuter shuttle service. And these initiatives are all important milestones toward the successful implementation of the e-palette concept. And during the course of these initiatives, we have realized that in order to promote popularization of the dedicated next-generation mass vehicles, there's a need for a third-party entity to stand between Toyota as a manufacturer and the various service providers to provide service planning, sales, vehicle leasing, and providing third-party operations. And SoftBank is an important shareholder in Uber, Grab, and other global rideshare companies. They came to the same realization as we did at Toyota. So around half a year ago, we started up a working group made up of younger employees of both companies, and we decided to establish Monet Technologies based on the results from the working group. This partnership combines and realizes SoftBank's corporate philosophy of information revolution, happiness for everyone, with Toyota's vision of a mobility for all. In addition to achieving advanced on-demand mobility services, we think that it will help to resolve social issues such as urban congestion and transportation needs in sparsely populated areas. As a mobility company, Toyota will continue to help realize a safer and more comfortable mobility society in which everyone can move freely. Now, I would like to hand over to Mr. Miyakawa of SoftBank, who will explain the details of the new company's business.
Thank you, Mr. Tomoyama. Now, Junichi Miyakawa, Representative Director and CTO of SoftBank Corporation, will give you presentation. Mr. Miyakawa, please. My name is Miyakawa from SoftBank. Mobile phones connect people with people. And with smartphones, phones will have application which allows connection between people and services. Going forward, we can have IoT, whereby data will be collected and analyzed with AI technology. SoftBank have devices which create data. We have network to collect data. We have platform to store data. We have AI to analyze data. And by utilizing data, we develop new services. So we have end-to-end capabilities, which is probably different from what you have in your mind when it comes to SoftBank as a telecom company. Talking about IoT, with 5G technologies coming in, IoT will be much more enriched. And today, I'm going to talk about cars, which will be one of the things get connected. Mr. Tomoyama mentioned earlier e-palette. From SoftBank's perspective, we believe that cars are ultimate IoT. And we have reached an agreement with Toyota to come to this alliance. The concept of e-palette. On top of autonomous cars, service will be built. That's the concept of e-palette. And by working together with Toyota, autonomous will be provided by this new company. And autonomous is a new word created by combining autonomous vehicle and mobility as a service. So we agreed to work together to work on autonomous with this new company. This is a new company overview. The company name is Monet Technologies. Share structure, SoftBank 50.25%, Toyota Motor Corporation 49.75%. Capital, we start with 2 billion Japanese yen, and we plan to increase to 10 billion Japanese yen. President and CEO will be myself, Junichi Miyakawa. And here's the logo of the new company. 20 years ago, Mr. Toyoda and Mr. Tomoyama and myself talked about the telematics. And they asked us to use the name which was used for telematics service that Toyoda and Tomoyama created 20 years ago. And in respect for the company, we named the new company Monet. And we are going to be the platformer. Service providers and autonomous vehicles will be connected to create a new mobility world, if you will. There are some use cases. This is a mobile convenience store. When you go to scarcely populated areas, there are a lot of people who have poor access to shopping facilities. So we're going to provide this capability so that they can have a merchandise coming to your door, and workspace, food delivery, shuttle bus or shuttle cars to hospitals. Those are some of the use cases that we are thinking to provide underserved people. This is a service rollout plan. We think that we are going to have 2 phases. Autonomous cars, and there are some regulations in Japan around autonomous cars, and we have to wait until certain regulations will be lifted or deregulated. So before waiting for that deregulation happen, we're going to start preparation for the future by introducing on-demand mobility services. Now, talking about on-demand mobility services, we are thinking about utilizing applications on the smartphone, but some customers prefer fixed line at home. So we are thinking about a two-way approach, mobile phones and application like this and other. And also, we try to new things. For example, applying to a national, to be designated as national strategic special zones. There are some challenges that we face in Japan. For example, of the Japanese population, 1 in 4 are aged 65 and older. But in 20 years, it will be 1 in 3. So we are pretty highly aged society. And there are a lot of people who have limited access to transportation and shopping facilities. They suffer inconvenience. And we heard that there are 8.2 million people are suffering that. And also some aged people, or more and more aged people are returning driver's licenses voluntarily. And the local governments operate some buses to try to help those people. But in reality, 83% of bus operators are unprofitable. And again, in highly localized area, in the last 10 years, 5,000 schools were closed. But from elementary school to high school, there are 33,000 schools, but out of them, 5,000 have been closed last 10 years. And also over 600 districts have no hospital. So Monet want to save people with limited access to transportation and shops. And also we want to resolve some transportation challenges and issues. And ultimately, with e-palette, we want to help revitalizing our local communities. Those are the steps we want to take. First, we want to work with local public agencies. In SoftBank, prefectures and cities, and there are about 15 prefectures or cities that we have alliance with. And with cooperation with those local municipalities, we want to drive for this effort. And we want to develop or deploy, in 100 municipalities working on revitalization. And we are willing to work with local municipalities who face challenges, and also we want to prioritize in areas with serious transportation issues. With e-palette, we want to promote next generation mobility. That's why we created this venture. Monet Technologies. SoftBank and Toyota may not seem like a perfect match, but all Japan team like us want to go global. We will try our best, and your support will be very much appreciated. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Miyakawa.
Now we'll proceed to a session for question and answers. So please wait momentarily as we prepare the stage for the session. Thank you for your patience. We'll start the question and answers. If you have questions, please raise your hand from your seat. Our staff members will be bringing you a microphone. And when you ask your questions, please identify yourself, stating your name and affiliation. And also, please make sure to identify to whom you are addressing your question. And I'd like to receive as many questions as possible. So may I ask you to limit yourselves to one question each. Thank you. I see a hand of a gentleman in a white shirt in the second block. Kudo with Nikkei. Thank you. If possible, this is for the two of you. In terms of Mars, before the end of this year, Google will start commercial business of the full automated service. And so technology companies of China and US are advancing very ahead. So what do you think are your own advantages? And also, do you see any challenges which might have one of the reasons why you have decided to team up in the two of you?
Allow me to answer that question first. The Mars-based vehicles or For the penetration and spread of MaaS business, Uber, Grab, those major global rideshare companies need to be partnered with. And so we think it is essential to partner with those. And in that context, the major shareholder of those companies, SoftBank and ourselves, do share the vision going forward. And by doing so, we have decided to establish this new company, as we have just announced today, the IoT platform SoftBank has, and also the assets in the IT industry that SoftBank has in the form of various partners is on the one hand, and Toyota has many platforms, and also we have the capability and strength of manufacturing consolidated or concentrated in our group. By combining together, we'll be able to establish the unprecedented strong mobility service that can be found nowhere else. In terms of the challenges, in different countries or regions, regulations or laws vary and conditions vary as well. And therefore, we need to come up with a form of a service that is most suitable for different regions as we try to spread this new service. Mr. Miyakawa, please.
Exactly, I feel threat. Automobile industry in Japan should be something that we are proud of. But when it comes to autonomous cars and electricity cars, if you look at America, Europe, and China, looking at the momentum they are building in terms of high-tech, SoftBank alone and automobile maker alone can't do everything together. So maybe we should better working together to embark on the journey. But we are not ready for giving up, and we believe that we can catch up with those more advanced guys abroad. When it comes to challenges, like Mr. Tomoyama mentioned, in Japan, it's not easy to start driving autonomous cars on public roads and streets. Even though autonomous vehicles are made and ready, society is not ready for driving those cars. So we want to help building a foundation for such society going forward.
よろしいでしょうか。
You okay? Well then, another hand in the first row. Kimura, Asahi Shimbun, thank you. This question is for the two of you. I was listening to your presentations, and the first service will be launched in Japan first, was my impression. But car dispatching service, both Toyota and SoftBank, you work with Nippon Kotsu and GG Tsushin. You have the application services already working with these companies, but what will be the sort of division of labor between the existing services like these? Initially, you serve 100 districts. Going forward, as the coverage expands, there will be a direct competition. So how are you going to divide your areas of responsibility?
You just referred to dispatch service. We are working with Japan Taxi and SoftBank with Didi. So with those partners, when it comes to the dispatch of vehicles, we are providing those type of applications and providing services. However, the ultimate vision that we have for this alliance is to use the autonomously driven MaaS vehicle, that is, to make the e-pallet commercially available and commercially used. However, we are referring to on-demand shuttle or on-demand bus, we call them as such. But before the ultimate state of an e-pallet becomes a reality, starting with the small vehicles, we'll be able to provide those vehicles to remote areas, or maybe in the urban areas for commuting purposes, where the commuting has become difficult. So that might represent one starting point for our services to be initiated. So when it comes to business operation, we ourselves may not be the operator of those businesses, but rather by working together with locally based taxi companies or transportation companies, we'll be initiating those. And to those, we'll be providing the vehicles and also the software required for that. So it's not that we are going to encroach upon the business areas where existing operators are already doing business.
Yes. Yeah, I think I share the same view with Mr. Tomoyama. For the first phase, rather than business-based or business-driven, there are a lot of challenges that we have to address to be ready for the future. And we need to also develop needs. So I don't think that we will compete head-to-head to service providers.
では続き
I hope that answers your questions. Now, yes, in the front row on the other side of the room. Nakajima, Kyoto Press. This, in the sense, is a strategic alliance. And can you give us a history of how come to agree on this? Who initiated this, and what is the process leading up to today's press conference? You talked about your initiative, an All Japan initiative. Toyota already worked with Matsuda and others on basic technologies for e-vehicles. You're going to be going to those areas as well.
Thank you for the question. As I alluded to a little bit earlier, considering the provision of a MaaS business in the future and to ensure development further, working with the existing car-sharing provider is very important. That's our recognition. In our own, we have been aligned with Grab or Uber. And as I said, SoftBank is the leading shareholder of both of these companies, and we believe that we need to share the same vision for the future. And so we, on the Toyota side, made approaches first to SoftBank about half a year ago. We started a discussion in the working group consisting on younger people of both companies. And we came to realize that when it comes to a vision for the future or the actual business to be pursued, we realized that we share very much of them. So that led to this decision to establish this company. With respect to the reference to All Japan, both Toyota and SoftBank will start up this business here in Japan, and we intend to increase the number of like-minded operators, or, if possible, eventually would like to deploy the business on the global scene as well.
ありがとうございます。
Thank you. I see your hand in the first row of the second from myself block. Tomioka, Toyo Keizai. Thank you. The stake you are taking, SoftBank is a majority and Toyota is a minority investor. Why is that? I mean, and why is this proportion? How was it decided? And also, what has been your view of Toyota and SoftBank as a partner to begin with?
With respect to the ownership share, it's for convenience purpose, because SoftBank is going to provide CEO, Mr. Miyakawa, and so that's why we have this sort of ownership share. But regardless of this ownership share, we share exactly the same vision and purpose of this company. That remains unchanged, and that remains very solid.
You've had a relationship, but you have been in a rival relationship. But how did you decide to come together?
Well, the interface between SoftBank and Toyota didn't exist in any significant way in the past. But as I have mentioned earlier, the collaborating with or partner with car-sharing or ride-share companies that Toyota has been promoting, we always found SoftBank behind those companies as the largest shareholder of those companies. Toyota in Japan, SoftBank in Japan, there is a clear need for these companies, the Japanese companies, to join hands and sharing vision to establish and build this solid business going forward. So that's why we made initial approaches to SoftBank, and we started this working group consisting of younger members of both companies. And between the manufacturers and service providers, including some local governments, we came to realize that there is some function between these two to combine them. And that need is recognized by both parties. And therefore, we have decided to establish this company.
So it's not necessarily as a result of the sort of a personal relationship between the top leaders?
No, basically, a working group consisting of younger people came up with this idea of establishing a new company. And we're going to have talk show to follow this, so please ask questions to the top executives of both companies.
Thank you. Any further questions? The gentleman with the black jacket on in the second row. Yamakawa is my name, WBS. And this one is for the both of you. In time, all Japan initiative is going to be, the world is your market, you said, but you're working together. But how specifically are you going to go overseas for global operations? What are your specific images, how you can be more international?
This new company, Monet Technology, people may focus on autonomously driven vehicles, but what kind of services should be or will be provided by such autonomous cars? That might be more important. Sometimes we might deliver services on our own, and other times we will provide a platform to service providers or services. And with that approach, we want to go global.
Basically, we share the same idea. That is to say, depending upon the regional area, there might be a major ride-share or car-sharing companies, and with those companies, we will be able to provide them with solutions or platform with Monet. And there may be areas where such service providers may not exist. In those remote areas, working with local governments might become our partner, or we ourselves providing such service is also envisioned. So it depends on the needs and demands existing in different regions. Depending on that, our own business model will vary and will be revised.
Thank you. And in the interest of time, I'm afraid I'm going to accept only 3 more questions. So, first hand in the third row. Shimizu is my name, Nikkei Automotive. Speaker from the SoftBank. This one is for you. SoftBank, you compete in the United States because you work with GM Cruise. That's competition against the palette of Toyota. So as far as you're concerned, SoftBank, you have Toyota and Toyota GM, who will be, shall I say, the more important partner in providing mass service. And in terms of the investment, GM should be very large.
Yes, as CEO of Monet Technology, I'd love to say yes, definitely Toyota is more important. But please ask Mr. Son to answer to your question.
Then the left-hand side from my perspective, second row.
Sean McLean from the Wall Street Journal. Apologies for the question in English. You've said that you aim for early 2020s to roll out an autonomous service. And I'm wondering what kind of risk there is for Monet of those autonomous technologies actually being ready for commercial service. And would you be willing to look outside your current partnership for help with other partners on developing that autonomous technology to get it ready for the early 2020s?
決してこのモネという会社は そのオートノーマスビーグルを開発
This Monet Technologies is not the company to develop autonomous vehicle. It's not that. We simply provide that as one of the solutions. From the perspective of Toyota Motor Corporation, in 2020, we are going to have Olympic Games in Tokyo, and the 2 Olympic Games, we would like to provide a pallet. So that point will represent one important starting point for autonomous vehicle. And in 2023, we will enhance that even further to commercialize e-pallet. And of course, by then, we will be developing our own autonomous vehicle technology. And at the same time, as we have announced already, working with Uber, the Toyota's autonomous system, that is Guardian, and Uber's autonomous driving technology will be used together, each monitoring each other to provide even safer mobility service. So that's the roadmap we have.
Sorry for that, and thank you. And do we have any more questions? We have a lady with a hand in the third block on my side. Hayashi is my name, sign to sign, both from Toyota and SoftBank. And people with engineering and technological expertise will move to this new company, or perhaps you'll be introducing talents from outside. So these new employees of the new company, what sort of expertise would you be expecting these people to bring to the new company, Mr. Miyakawa?
Yes, thank you. As a first start, about 30 people will be in the company, both coming from Toyota and from SoftBank. And we have a lot of people in our companies that have expertise in Mars. And we are looking for people who have knowledge about systems and AI, who is capable of analyzing data collected.
よろしいでしょうか。
I hope that answered your question. Thank you. Maybe one more question will be entertained. Yes, the gentleman with the hand up in the middle. Yes, thank you very much for this opportunity. Sasaki is my name, Japan Logistics Newspaper. We are a logistics newspaper, and from that perspective, earlier you talked about you're working with local bus taxi companies, people movers. But autonomous driving will be introduced in trucking services as well. So any ideas about going to logistics business, distribution business?
Yes. People, goods, and services, those are the things that we want to utilize to provide our capability. And we, of course, will support people who have difficulty in grocery shoppings on daily basis. And also, parcel delivery will be something that we will think about going forward.
Thank you. I know that you have a lot more questions that you would like to ask, but unfortunately, it's time for us to conclude this session for Q&A. Thank you very much for your questions, and I'd like to invite our speakers to leave the stage.